What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So guys, channel membership is now live. Link is in the description and the first comment. Do check it out. That would really help support the channel. So let's start this video with the big announcement. Made by the official Pittsburgh Pro organizers. The show just got a lot better because all of us were under the impression that there will be no guest posing this year. Because this time we're having a men's open bodybuilding show at this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro. But as you guys can see, two reigning Miss Olympia champions, Samson Dauda and Keon Pearson, they're gonna grace the stage, along with two of the biggest names in Classic Physique division, the reigning World champion in Classic, and possibly the biggest contender for this year's Olympia title, Mike Sommerfeld, and the best from Brazil, Ramon Dino. So you guys all wanna see Keon Pearson making that switch from the 212 into the men's open. Well, that's not happening anytime soon, but him next to a 300 pounds Samson Dauda, that is gonna become a talking point of this upcoming weekend. And who knows, maybe all these guys, they will share the stage with the guys who are competing there. So the guest posing at the Pittsburgh Pro, that has always been very historic. It has always built up the momentum on the road to Miss Olympia. And the great thing is that all these guys, they have been training very hard for these past few weeks. But Keon Pearson, he might be the one standout, especially in this group, because he has been smashing those daily workouts, making sure he doesn't miss a single meal for the past several months now, ever since he started this off-season for this year, after the Olympia last year. And we have to keep in mind, he started his off-season way earlier than most of these guys. Now nonetheless, with all that Pittsburgh Pro hype building up right now, just under 10 days out, this announcement, that was like a cherry on top. The Manions made sure that they are putting on a show that is gonna be one of the biggest shows of the year. And I have said this so many times now, that Pittsburgh Pro is gonna be one mighty show. Fuel your workouts with Hosstile supplements, one of the best isolate and pre-workout in the game, and use the code FAZI10 to get 10% extra discount. Next up we have a big reveal and the announcement by Sazan Herati. The man has decided to jump into the New York Pro as well, and why not? So this is his can look, with another 2.5 weeks to go. And he's doing California Pro anyway, so the New York Pro, that is just 1 week before that show. So is there a guy with more detailed feathers, especially on the quads in the men's open? Well, Good Vito has some of the craziest quads out there, but this right here also looks way too impressive. So if Sazan makes it to this year's Olympia stage, what a great storyline that would be. An IFBB Pro who went completely missing from the stage, from competing, and that too for 5 straight years. And then he came back, and he almost beat a top 5 Olympian, Andrew Jack, at this past FIBO Germany. Now Saz hasn't done a lot of pro shows as an IFBB Pro, and for those of you guys who do not know, he turned pro back in 2017. He made his pro debut that year, and his last show, that was in 2018. After that, he took a very long break, and after last year, when he said he's gonna take this off-season very seriously and come back better than ever, the man just wasn't messing around. So the way it is all coming together for Sazan, the competition must come in their top shape, and they must all bring their A games. Because fact of the matter is, if any of these guys, they come in off, or they miss their mark, Sazan is gonna make them look very soft when they stand next to him. So what does this say about all the guys who chose to skip this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro, hoping that there won't be a very deep competition at the New York Pro? And this lineup is expected to get bigger as we get closer and closer to that show. So Sazan is looking right on the money here. And there is no exaggeration in saying this, that in terms of pure quality, those quads are some of the best in the world right now. So he won't be the biggest guy on the stage at this upcoming New York Pro, but he might be the most ripped guy and the most detailed guy. And if you're coming off, he's gonna move right past you, and that too quite comfortably. Next up we have an update from the mutant Nick Walker. So this was taken from his recent YouTube video. So his arms are looking as big as they possibly can, and they are really playing around with his foot this close to the shoe to bring him at his all-time best at this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro, which is gonna be his comeback show after 1 year. So the opinion about Nick Walker changed so much over the past few weeks, because when Derek announced that he's jumping into this year's Pittsburgh Pro, some disrespectful comments were made, and they were thrown at Nick, claiming that he's gonna pull out of that show. So the man not only looks very ready for this upcoming show, but also in a very top shape to stand next to guys like Martin and Derek. And the man feels more confident than ever before that the package that he's bringing this time around, that is gonna be very overwhelming in terms of size. So his muscularity, that is of course gonna be superior to both these guys, Derek and Martin. And Nick 100% thinks that he has a legitimate shot at winning the first ever Pittsburgh Pro. Yes, he won't be the most aesthetic guy or the most pretty guy on that stage, but the fact is that is already given. And that is just one criteria to judge any show. Now we have seen different versions from the mutant Nick Fokker over the years. So the one that nobody talks about is his New York Pro version from back in 2021, where he won his first ever pro show. He was in great command of every single shot that he hit on that stage. And his waistline was also looking pretty damn good at that show. So can Nick Fokker bring back that kind of look with all that additional muscle, all that size that he has built over this past offseason? Well, his freak factor has to be on a different level at this upcoming show, especially if he wants to have a shot against guys like Derek and Martin. And the fact is that is probably gonna be his biggest strength against the entire competition here. The Iranian phenomena Behrouz Tabani is now 7.5 weeks out from this year's Dubai Pro. So he's obviously the favorite to win that show, at least as of right now. And the man is coming in to successfully defend his title. But we are more interested to see whether Martin Fitzwater, he decides to jump into that show. Or is he gonna skip that one and just focus on the Olympia after this year's Pittsburgh Pro? So originally that was his plan, because Dubai Pro, that is the third highest paying show of the year after the Arnold and the Olympia. So Behrouz for 7.5 weeks out, he looks pretty damn solid right now. I think he has done a total of 7 shows since 2021, and you cannot even pick one where he came in off. So he has stood next to the winning Miss Olympia, Samson Dauda, I believe back in 2023, in that post-Olympia tour at Prague Pro. Now back then the size difference between both these guys, that was quite apparent. But Behrouz just has this ability to come in super dry and absolutely shred it to the bone. And honestly, there are very few IFBB pros out there who can match that level of conditioning. And the fact that we compare Behrouz's conditioning to someone like Hadi Choopan, that in itself is such a huge statement. So Behrouz Tabani has become such a bare bodybuilder over the past 3 years. The physique that we saw from him at last year's Dubai Pro, he was clearly head and shoulders above the competition, and that was Nathan Diesha and William Bonac. And all the bodybuilding experts who have seen Behrouz Tabani in person, they say if this guy gets to the US and he steps on that Miss Olympia stage, he's gonna be top 6 and he will become an immediate problem to all those top 5 guys. Now it is kind of unbelievable that when he opens up in that front upper biceps, how goddamn small his waistline appears. So the one thing that Behrouz Tabani still need to work on and keep growing, that is his quads, his legs, and who knows, he might very well be Miss Olympia one day. Now as far as this upcoming Dubai Pro goes, this is Behrouz's show to lose. It has been a full year since the last time we competed. So we are expecting to see a bigger and a much improved version of Behrouz Tabani this time around. So thanks to Brett Wilkin, we finally got to see another physique update from Martin Fitzwater, just 12 days out of this year's Pittsburgh Pro. Now this might not be the most impressive update, as Martin isn't the biggest guy, but as Milo Sarcev said, that no video or picture, they can capture the type of thin skin, that onion-like skin that Martin has. You have to be in person to truly appreciate the quality and the kind of detail this guy has, or that truly comes into play when he's standing next to other guys. So the fact is Martin has to kind of re-establish himself here at this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro. So 99% of the experts out there, they have Nick Fokker beating him. And a big part of that reason is Nick Fokker has been posting a lot of physique updates. And Martin, on the other hand, he has only posted a few. Now he himself feels like that he has already surpassed his Olympia physique from last year, with time to go. But the fact is, every bodybuilder feels that way leading into any show. I clearly remember Martin saying this, that his Pro look, that will top his Olympia look, which just wasn't the case. The fact is, he was peaked to absolute perfection at the Olympia last year. And if he can replicate that same look, that same conditioning, with an additional of 5 to 7 pounds, he's definitely fighting for this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro title. And that is gonna be one historic show. So if Martin is able to beat Nick Fokker, he's gonna solidify himself as a top 4 Olympia contender for this year, and the years ahead as well. So let's just hope that what Martin is saying, that becomes true. Because one cannot even imagine how he's gonna surpass his Olympia level conditioning. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video. And smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.